You're listening to Podcast PXN,
a video game podcast
delivering player experience news.
Let's go!
You hear that? Has greatness arrived? Or is it too late? I don't know. I didn't know how to start the show. But welcome to Podcast PXN episode 130. I am one of your hosts, your favorite Portland Mexican, Christian Macias, and I am joined over Discord by Kentucky's #1 Spartan, Daniel Prindle, aka Dan is DTM. Left a little salute there. The Nintendo aficionado, Roro, aka the Ro who leapt through time. Bro, you visual watchers, there you go. Perfect.
Yes.
And unfortunately, Gage Dempster, aka one half of the Men and Gitch podcast at Gilbo Biggins, not here today, but we miss him so much. So I'm going to cancel Street Meat forever. Thank you to everyone watching us live and participating in the chat. Just as a reminder, we are live each and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. Just search Podcast PXN, as well as over on twitch.tv/podcastpxn and on our Twitter as well. The topic of the show this week is the state of play station. But first, the show always starts with the PXN news of the week, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Daniel.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Bro? Hello?
Hi.
Okay, just wanted to get that away. I didn't hear hello from either of you.
Oh,
How are you guys doing? I'm sorry.
wait a minute, Christian. The last time I said hello when you hosted, you were like, "Oh,
It's like, don't
hang on."
This is what the show is, you know. You just
Different
riff.
day.
You know, I just wing it.
Yeah.
I don't even take notes. I just remember everything that happened in the span of the week. Anyway, let's jump into our quick bites. Of course, before we get into the meteor news, we kind of dive into some of the biggest news that happened this week in the gaming world, but kind of more condensed. And if we want to talk about them, we can. If not, we move on to the next. Starting with we got an update from Overwatch 2. There's a full YouTube video up now with a bunch of updates. Here are some bullet points. Overwatch 2 will have new content on a regular basis, which is a big win for you Overwatch fans. PvP testing is going to be starting this week, and then the first PvP alpha will be limited to, unfortunately, however, for you fans, the alpha will be limited to Blizzard employees and pros, so not quite into the public. However, a closed PvP beta, if you can get in, will be available come next month, sometime in April. So, big Overwatch 2 news coming.
Very cool. I also heard that they are changing up a little bit of how they're approaching the game with, like, in the video that you linked to us here, where PvP might arrive sooner than the story mode, the single player stuff, and they're kind of separating those two things. And I thought it was interesting how we were talking about Halo last week, about how they separated the release, or they released stuff earlier to later release, like, the other modes that they're still working on. But for this, it seems like, I think this is a good idea in a weird way, like releasing the PvP, which is something that Overwatch has always been anyway, and just release the story mode stuff later. I feel like separating those things is kind of okay because of how long it's been since Overwatch has gotten an update. Just bring us the new stuff already.
To that, I ask then, Ro, then what's even the point of Overwatch 2? Because the biggest complaint
That's
was
a
it seems
great
like it
point,
wasn't that much of an incremental change between
Yeah.
1 and 2.
Yeah.
So we'll have to
a
wait
good
and see
point.
what the pros and the Blizzard employees have to say. But
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more news on PXN or on Blizzard. You know, whatever avenue you get your Overwatch news from. Moving on, Super Nintendo World will be opening at Universal Studios Hollywood in 2023. Daniel, I don't know if you'll be ready to take another plane ride over to the West Coast anytime soon.
no chance.
I'm a lot closer. Yeah, you guys excited? Would you want to go? You could.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm glad that they're opening it up in more places than Japan. I think they had an Orlando one in the works too. I might be speaking out of my butt here. I'm not sure about that, but I'm glad that there's more locations that they're opening up besides the Japan one, because going to Japan, as much as I would love to go to Japan, I'm sure it's probably a lot more expensive to just going to LA. But yeah, definitely want to go someday.
Yeah, I agree. It would be super cool to see this. Like, seeing all the images of the Japan Nintendo World is just insane. Like, you walk in there and it's like you're walking into the Mario art style. And it's really cool.
Yeah. I don't see anything on not Japan. I'm sorry, for Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I was thinking about something else.
Then I'm not going.
Are you close? You a lot closer to Orlando?
It would be drivable, whereas obviously Hollywood wouldn't really be drivable. That'd be like 3-day trip. So it's like probably 14 to 16 hours or something.
Listen,
to Orlando.
You drive to Orlando. You drive to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Your first meal's on me. You gotta get your ticket yourself, but your first meal's on me. Okay. Moving on. We got an update from the Dead Space team. Dead Space remake is confirmed to be aiming for early 2023 release, which is fantastic. And then we got a cool deep dive into some of the audio reworks for the upcoming remake. It's split up into 3 videos, and I was kind of checking this out this morning while I was creating the doc. So obviously headphones are recommended for this because of the way audio works in that game. And I kind of took some not deeper notes, but like let me walk you through some of the systems real quick. There's the Alive system. So this is really cool. Isaac will have a different way of delivering dialogue depending on his current state, which to me is like stuff like his health and where he is like health-wise. I suppose like if he's injured, he'll deliver the lines differently, which I think is like a very cool small touch. This is probably my favorite. There's the 6-minute video on occlusion and obstruction, which will affect how and if players will hear sound and its direction from the source to the player. They did this cool thing called like portals, like within the actual environment. So, if a door closes, suddenly you don't hear audio behind the wall. Maybe there's a window next to the door, and you now have that audio source coming through like this pane of glass, and it changes the way sound is shaped or formed. Very cool stuff. The way it's bouncing around the environment, amazing. And then lastly, there was a weapon sound effects comparison. And they went deep into all the layers that they're adding for each individual shot of the weapon, which shaping up to be a very cool remake, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, it sounds so good. That was an amazing like little deep dive they had, and I think they said they're gonna have a bunch more of these like over the next several months, which that's awesome. I love that kind of stuff. And also like the Alive system. I think they said that also like when Isaac is doing certain things, like if he's like heavily like running, like breathing really heavily or whatever, like his audio will change then too. So like there was a game that did that. Maybe you guys can remember. I feel like where he changed his dialogue every time he was like physically active or something.
Wasn't it Spider-Man?
Was it?
Yeah, the two members are the 2 Spider-Man games. Yeah.
Yes, and that's so cool. I love that. So it's cool to see that here.
Yeah. Bro, you're still not going to play Dead Space though, right?
No. This makes it even more scary. The audio, but it's really cool. But I'm just too scared.
Fear not, Ro. I have something for you and for the rest of us, because a new poster for the Sonic movie 2 has been revealed, and it pays homage to the video game, and it's a cool poster.
Yes, really cool poster. I can't wait. Next month, April 8th. So excited. And as you said, it obviously pays tribute to the original Sonic 2 Sega Mega Drive game. So that's really cool. Really awesome. They definitely are doing stuff right here. So I love it. I'm so excited for the movie.
Have you guys seen the meme where Tails has like the laser pointed on his head? It's just fantastic. I love that.
I did see that.
Yeah, it looks so good. Everyone, put your hands together. Let's all congratulate Hideo Kojima, because he received the 72nd Minister of Education Award for Fine Arts from the Agency of Cultural Affairs, Government of Japan. Kojima,
congrats, Kojima.
Congrats.
Yay.
Amazing. There's a nice picture of him in a suit. I like it as well.
A big ribbon too.
That's insane. He's been creating games for 36 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Big impact in the industry, that man, huh?
Yes. Can't wait to see what he's got cooking next. But for now, congratulations, Kojima. Well deserved.
Yep.
Yes. Let's move on to some news. I'm going to lean on Dan here a little bit. because it's more of his world, and I don't know if I don't remember what I was seeing here. But we have some Halo TV show impressions. Of course, I think the show is dropping next week, if I remember correctly.
Mm.
And it seems like people have been really digging kind of a new take on this Halo world, and that they're excited to see where this interpretation of Halo is going to go, and that they've really been enjoying. I forget the actor's name who's playing Master Chief, but that's what I've seen on Twitter. Can you corroborate that, Dan?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have been. I mean, it hasn't done like amazing. I think it's doing about what ironically, what we said it was going to do, like in the 6.5 to 7.0 range in terms of reviews. But like, I think the important parts of it is like people are excited to see something new from the Halo universe, and that's kind of like a product of them not using the timeline of the games, like it's a separate universe and everything, which I really like. And yeah, that last trailer that they showed off this past week, amazing. I love that trailer. So yeah, I'm very optimistic as of right now. I don't know where our bet stands with Gage. I can't remember what we said 6.5, but I can't remember what was it IMDb that we said we were following for that.
Ooh. Let's hope he wrote it down because I certainly did not.
Yeah. But anyways, I think it's gonna do about what we thought it was gonna do, and like it seems like the most gripes that I've seen is that they kind of don't go that in depth into things in season 1, which I wouldn't expect them to. They're kind of introducing people into this world, especially people who have never played the games before. So I think it'll be more, I think, interesting to see how season 2 does, knowing that we already are getting a season 2, to kind of see how it progresses the story and everything. So, but yeah, so far I'm optimistic. Next week, it comes out next Thursday.
That's 2 video game shows coming in Paramount, yeah? Halo and Twisted Metal.
Yeah,
anyway.
A little something.
Yeah. Speaking of getting things twisted, I don't know. EA Play 2022 has been unfortunately canceled. Oh, I'm sorry. Everyone, I have to apologize here to Dan. Bro, you're okay. I incorrectly did well, I don't know. Maybe you have to apologize to you Ro, as well. I did the British spelling of canceled as opposed to the American. So.
Oh no, you don't have to apologize to me. That's how we spell it here in Canada too.
Perfect. I have a quote here from EA. We have exciting things happening at our world-class studios, and this year we'll reveal much more about these projects when the time is right for each of them. Honestly, like I think that's a good thing. Like let the devs show the games when they're ready to go, and if they're not, like it's always kind of dangerous to reveal games a little bit too early. We saw that with a few other games that we'll maybe might talk about today. So yeah. Kind of sucks that we won't see updates, but otherwise, like, take your time.
Yeah. Considering it's been years since we've seen freaking Dragon Age, and they just announced Mass Effect, and it's like, let's finish Dragon Age first, and then let's see Mass Effect.
Yep. Absolutely. But also, God, I'm just dying to see more Skate 4.
Or
at some point.
Even play it, maybe, sometime.
Anything, Dan, anything, please. Moving on. We've got some Ghostwire Tokyo impressions. These kind of embargo lifted this month on people who have been playing it. It seems to be kind of critically mixed, but still leaning towards like mostly good. Consensus here is that the art direction is good, and the protagonists and the plot is interesting, that the side missions are fun, but that the gameplay is overall stiff, and the open world unfortunately seems to be just like kind of another checklist game. To that I ask, with all that in mind, are you still interested at all in Ghostwire Tokyo? Will you be checking it out?
I don't think I was super excited for it. I don't think this helps, but it being the positives are definitely things that speak to me though, like it having a good story, a fun protagonist, and interesting plot, and the side missions are at least fun. All that's great. But if the gameplay is not there, and especially it being first person, which is something that I usually don't go towards anyway, kind of makes me want to stay away from it for now. So this is maybe like a sale game that I pick up in the future, because the positives are are good. So yeah, this is probably something that I'll pick up later down the line. Not really jamming for it right now.
The gameplay being stiff isn't surprising because Evil Within is a little janky as well, and the gameplay can be very stiff. But I think this just proves that we should have got Evil Within 3. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I've said that so many times.
Wow.
Sorry.
Wow.
No, but yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see like how everyone reacts to this game because it's a very different game. Like it's definitely a unique thing. It's just a matter of if they can, pull people in to make them interested enough to want to check it out. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I probably won't get it at launch. Maybe later.
What about you,
I can jump in.
Christian? Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's so nice of you. Yeah, this is a big bummer to me, particularly with all the open world stuff because, I mean, I'm a little bit open world fatigued. I'm right off the back of games like Horizon Forbidden West, which I put a lot of time into. Obviously, I put a lot of time into Elden Ring, but I like that open world. So to be going into like another open world that seems to be more checklist-y, like that doesn't really appeal to me. It honestly makes me kind of sad because the side mission stuff looks really cool, particularly like the way you get like transported into like these visually stunning different kind of environments and like super trippy and very scary. That excites me, but if most of the game is stiff gameplay and you're kind of just doing things mindlessly checking off boxes, I don't know. That's just not for me right now, unfortunately. So yeah, might be wait for a sale, wait to see if maybe it comes to Spartacus at some point, and check it out then. But right now, sorry, I'd rather play Tunic and Elden Ring. Speaking of Elden Ring, oh my god, I segued myself. We have an Elden Ring update for you guys. Elden Ring has sold 12 million copies worldwide in just over 2 weeks, which is absolutely insane, considering it's a Souls-like game. For comparison, it took Dark Souls 3 4 years to reach 10 million units sold. Damn. Quite a difference between the two, eh? Yeah. I want to include this bit as well, then we can talk if we have anything to say. From Software and Bandai Namco are interested in expanding the IP beyond the realm of games, which makes sense. You had a George R.R. Martin come in and help you with the story. So there's probably a lot there that we want to do. Maybe you want to do like a short story or some kind of like comic or a short TV spinoff. Like it's right for something like that. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really great for them. Obviously the reviews were really, really good when it came out, so that obviously helps it a lot. A lot of people saying this is a game of the year contender right out the gate, so I'm sure a lot of people wanted to check it out as well. And the anticipation for the game was like super high for such a long time. So I totally get it selling well, but it's selling this well is just awesome. Great for them.
Yeah. Hopefully, so obviously the game turned out to be fantastic, and obviously I hope that their studio environment isn't too bad right now, because there has been reports about that recently. However, there are also reports that after the game has succeeded so well, they're paying their employees more, which I don't know how, what does that look like on paper? I have no idea, but yeah, hopefully the people at FromSoft are getting adequately provided benefits to creating such an awesome game. Obviously one of the best of their history.
Yeah, they make masterpieces over there. Flawed masterpieces at some points. Like I have small nitpicks, but masterpieces nonetheless. Amazing game. Yeah. Anyway, God, I love Elden Ring. Moving on to another game that I really want to love. Hopefully, I'll play it soon after I beat Elden Ring. Tunic. Reviews came out today. Stealth release on Game Pass, which is an absolute win for the teams over there at Microsoft. I'm going to read you some early review scores. Eurogamer calls it essential. Polygon recommends it. Game Informer giving it a 9.75. GameSpot a 9. IGN a 9. And then goes on and on and on like that. I think let's check OpenCritic though, because we do have a Fantasy Critic League. Right now, currently sitting at an 86 average on OpenCritic.
Very good.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, another great game for 2022. It looks like, because the hits just keep keep coming for these 2022 games, and I'm loving it. I just don't have all the time to play all these great games, but I definitely want to.
Kirby.
Yeah, Kirby's right around the corner too. I hope it reviews just as well as all these games are. I'm sure it will. But back to Tunic, I definitely want to try this out. I love the made up language that they have for this game. It seems like really a lot of fun, and I heard the exploration is awesome. Just like Zelda goodness in this really cute box, I guess you can call it. But yeah, I definitely want to dive in. And it being on Game Pass is like a no-brainer. I'm definitely going to pick this up sometime.
I'm gonna let Dan know a little secret about me.
What's that?
I've been playing around with this idea of picking up an Xbox Series X just for Game Pass. Like I want to keep my PC just for PC games now because I'm just filling up on Game Pass games. It'd be nice to just kind of like have a Series X, have my big TV, play Game Pass games on my couch.
Heck yeah,
I
absolutely.
think I want to do it.
Or even like, there's so many people that are buying Series S now because like it's a cheap way to get into that, like into that ecosystem. You know, $300, which actually I don't think we put it in here, but I think in the UK the Series S actually outsold, or I'm sorry, Series S and X outsold the PS5 last month for the first time ever. And apparently that was much attributed to the Series S, which makes sense. It's much more affordable option, and I think that's kind of what Microsoft wanted. So yeah, that Series S or X would probably be a great choice for Game Pass games. Sure.
When are they going to make a Series E?
That'll be the mid-gen refresh.
The middle one, yeah, it has to be. It's the only place to put it.
I'll let the readers fill in, the gap.
Oh, I just got that.
And you nailed it too. You're like, it has to go in the middle. It's like, yes, Dan, it does have to go in the middle.
Yeah,
I didn't even mean it like that, but yes, that's wow.
Nice. Congrats, Dan. That's it for Quick Bites. Let's move into kind of bigger news. Today, I'm going to start off with this. Speaking of Xbox, they had their ID at Xbox event. And I linked here in the doc the IGN article that does a really good job of catching you up on everything that. Not everything. I'm not gonna read everything here, but I'm gonna hit some highs. Here we go. Immortality, an interactive movie trilogy. From the mind of Sam Barlow, creator of the critically acclaimed Her Story and Telling Lies, comes a new interactive mystery. You trawl through lost home movies to figure out what exactly happened to a woman named Marissa Marcel. That's coming summer 2022. Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn, from the studio behind 2018's Ashen, comes a new open-world action RPG. You'll play as a pistol-wielding woman named Nor and her fox-like companion, Enki, on a journey of vengeance, gunpowder, and magic, and humanity's last stand. This has a 2022 release date as well. Cursed to Golf. The what if golf but weird genre has had something of a renaissance the last few years. This game looks to promise a more spooky take on the tee. By the way, just the art style, the whole video of Cursed to Golf looks insanely cute, and like it looks really fun. Escape Academy. This is pretty much escape room, but with like with like students in like a high school setting. Obviously, a bit more like it features music from Dacioni, composer for Enter the Gungeon, Gang Beasts, and Sludge Life. Very cool. Whalefall, described as a combination SRPG, JRPG influenced by the likes of Lord of the Rings, Suikoden, and Final Fantasy. Released a TBD on that. I'm going to move a bit faster here. We saw WrestleQuest. I think it's a wrestling kind of pixel RPG. Tunic, of course. Crusader Kings 3 console edition. I think it's coming to console. Yep. Trek to Yomi, which is now confirmed to be available on Game Pass. There Is No Light, Boy Train, and many more games. You can read the full list over on IGN or over on Xbox. And I'm going to accompany this with huge slate of these games are now coming to Xbox Game Pass, including games like Escape Academy and Trek to Yomi. So, amazing.
I'm happy about Trek to Yomi coming to Game Pass. That's definitely something that I'm picking up for sure. So I'm glad that's going to be there. Chinatown Detective Agency is something that I've been excited for as well. That was shown off. It's like a visual novel, point and click adventure sort of thing, and it looks really cool. So I'm definitely digging that. and excited for that one as well. Definitely looks like my jam. But I didn't get the chance to watch this, but I'm glad it was all it's all here in this nice little package though. So yeah, I'm excited for a couple of these games for sure.
Yeah, I agree. It's like you said, Ro. I didn't have a chance to watch it either, but there's a lot of cool things in here. I'm kind of interested in seeing what this Immortality game is, because an interactive movie trilogy, is that going to be like a Netflix like experience? Like what's that, Bandersnatch? Is that what that's called? The interactive movie that they did. I wonder if they're gonna go more into like that kind of thing, or if they're gonna, I don't know, have like.
So
Sorry, go ahead.
I think, have you played Erica or like She Dreams? I don't know, not She Dreams elsewhere. Like Erica on PlayStation, that was a thing. It's like
Yeah,
an interactive. It's an interactive movie as well. I think this is like pretty similar to She Dreams Elsewhere, like where it's kind of like you're watching this thing, you've got your phone out or your controller, and you'll have to do certain actions at some points, and then make. See, the thing about Bandersnatch, you'll make decisions on what you should be doing next, and that'll change, the next scene.
Interesting.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're good. Go ahead.
I was thinking about the same thing though, Dan, with like as when this was being shown, if Netflix partner with people like this to have these types of games on their platform instead of like the solitaires that they have going on right now, that'd be such a game changer. I think that would be awesome if they had more games like this, because that's exactly what I thought when I saw this Bandersnatch. If they had more experiences like this, I think their games department would be kind of a bit better. I think it'd be a good venture to dive down into. So I was just thinking about that.
Like that's something they should be able to lean into, I feel like, because like Netflix makes really good quality like TV shows. Like they have a lot of great content on there. Obviously, like all the Marvel stuff that they made, or a lot of it, was really good. So like I feel like they could make some cool stuff like this if they applied it to that, like you said, Ro, and put it in their game section.
Yeah, like Bandersnatch was super fun. The only one I remember they did after that was like a Bear Grylls survival thing.
Oh yeah,
and that was like aimed towards kids, and that was the last we saw of it, which is kind of a bummer because I had fun with Bandersnatch. So you're onto something there, Ro. I wanted to pull up a tweet from Emma Watkins Jr. as well, because we saw Trick to Yomi last week at the State of Play, and I was very excited for it. And then with the announcement that's coming to Game Pass, Emmett tweeted that he found it funny how Trek to Yomi just instantly went from a PS5 game to an Xbox game in his head with one announcement, and that's the Game Pass announcement. He's absolutely right. Like when games come to Game Pass now, I like think about them as like Xbox games now, and that's just the power of Game Pass.
So I guess the question is, to confuse you even more, Christian, when these PS5 Bethesda games go to Game Pass, are they going to become an Xbox game? Like Deathloop and Shinji Mikami's game.
See, that's weird. That's weird though, because like Deathloop was heavily marketed as a PS5 game, you know, and then that acquisition happened near release.
Yeah,
done. I don't know about that one.
No, I'm teasing.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, you're onto something there though, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. Moving on. Speaking of Xbox, again, we've got some trouble at the initiative. Is it too late for quadruple A? Huge story that broke out earlier this week, and then we got an update for it today. Over half of the core dev team working on Perfect Dark have quit in the past 12 months due to frustration over the game's direction and top-down studio hierarchy. I'm pulling here a quote from Video Game Chronicles. As much as half the core development team known to be working on the upcoming Perfect Dark reboot quit the company during the last year. That includes most of the initiative's senior design team, including game director Dan Newberger, design director Drew Murray, lead level designer Chris O'Neill, principal world builder Julian Myers, 2 senior system designers, a group of 3 former God of War designers, and much more. The turnover of top talent doesn't end in design. Perfect Dark's 2 most senior writers also recently quit, along with the project's technical director, tech art director, lead game engineer, lead animator, QA lead, and more. And according to LinkedIn, the initiative is now less than 50 people. And I'm going to just include this now as well. Obviously, we've had if you've kept up with the initiative, they brought in Crystal Dynamics to kind of help with production of Perfect Dark. And it seems like with this top-down mentality, it seems like Crystal Dynamics has been slowly, kind of taking over development of the game. And as of today, with 2 more departures and seemingly more corroborating that report soon, it seems like Crystal Dynamics is now essentially leading that project. A lot to unpack there. I want to jump straight to Dan first. You're our lead Xbox guy here. Is this worrisome for you? Like obviously you don't like seeing high turnover, but like
Right.
I don't know. Give your thoughts.
Yeah, obviously, yes, it is troubling. When reportedly half of your studio is leaving, that is not good. And obviously, Microsoft started the studio wanting to be like a Sony Santa Monica. That's why they're in Santa Monica, because they wanted to copy the success of what Sony was doing with their teams. And is it too late for quadruple A like you're saying here? I don't know, but like the fact that they came out and announced this studio as a quadruple A studio from the get-go was probably a huge mistake on Microsoft's behalf anyways. Like start small, let's build up, and then like if you make fantastic experiences like Sony Santa Monica's doing, then you can call them quadruple A when they get to that point. But like you've got to get to that point. And obviously Microsoft has been having their own troubles lately, and I noticed the other day a lot of people were throwing this on Phil Spencer, which obviously some of the blame has to come on him because he's at the top, but also at the same time, like he has people that are under him that are in charge of these things. You have Matt Booty, who is literally in Phil's old job, which is overseeing all first-party studios. He's got to take some responsibility and say, what am I doing wrong to support this studio? Like, what do we need to do to make sure that these people are staying there? And I saw a lot of good feedback of people talking about like one of the problems is like Microsoft looks for these leads for their certain divisions, like your art lead and your design lead and all of this, instead of having like teams of leads. Like you have multiple people that are leads within a division, because then you're promoting people more rapidly. You have more people wanting to get to those higher levels. Like yeah, it's a tricky thing, and obviously we don't know without being there, but obviously they've got to change something. And again, as we talked about with Halo Infinite, personally, I think that they need to do something in terms of their contractor policy, because contractors are detrimental. In my opinion, if you use them too much, contractors are too detrimental for video games, because you're bringing someone in for 3 months to work on something. Their contract ends, say they part ways or whatever, you have to bring in someone else to start literally where that person left off after 3 months, and you're losing all that work because they're like, oh, I don't know what this person did. Let me refer to what they already did rather than have the same person work on it. So like, yeah, there's definitely a lot of concern right now. Obviously, they knew that these things were happening because they brought on Crystal late last year, like you said, Christian.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helps.
Oh, okay. So I was kind of reading into like the Video Game Chronicle stuff, and I forget the author. And there's someone that works at VGC who I was like reading a thread of tweets, and it seems like that's kind of where the problem is stemming from a little, like partly. It's the top-down hierarchy that like was kind of brought in. That was already happening, I think, at the initiative, and then like that was exacerbated with Crystal Dynamics. And like you said about, having this problem with not teams of leads, right? Just like these particular leads who are, again, I don't know the specifics, but they're demanding certain X, Y, and Z, and it's causing just, employee frustrations. They're not happy, things aren't progressing, and suddenly you have high turnover. And that seems to be like where the huge issue is. And like, if you rectify that, it seems like we'd be okay. I think of things like, Kojima's Kojima Productions. Duh, that's the name of the studio. Started, built his team from the ground up, right? That seemed to be very not top down, but down up, I guess, studio working with Guerrilla and having these different teams of leads and having collaboration that way, they were able to produce a game in just a few short years. Yeah, that's the thing for me in terms of all video game development. Keep the teams happy, and that hopefully leads to projects not just coming out quicker, but to better more
quality.
quality products. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, it looks like it's slowly turning into like Crystal Dynamics, the Perfect Dark instead of the Initiative's the Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
It sucks because these are some pretty high level people like that you're listing off here, like lead people, lead game engineers, tech art director. Like these are people that you need to stay on the project to make sure it goes smoothly and make sure that the initial vision is seen through to the end. Obviously, you don't need these people until the very end, but like in the early stages, them leaving so soon is not good. So I'm hoping that they're able to turn it around. We don't want another. It's a different company, but we don't want another Beyond Good and Evil situation where this is just like in development forever and we never see it. Because I know Dan was super excited because I was there when it was first announced. So and we reacted to it, and he was like so excited. So for people like Dan and everybody else, I hope that they're able to turn it around. And as what Christian was saying, just make sure the team is happy. Like I don't understand how it just goes from just flips like that so suddenly, and that everything falls apart so quickly.
And maybe like I'm part of the problem in that situation because like, I got excited because then like at the end of that little teaser before they showed the Initiative logo, I was like, oh, that's Daryl Gallagher. Like that, you see these heads that are the so to speak heads of the studios or whatever. They could literally be the studio heads, or they could be, the Todd Howards, who are literally like the creative heads. Like we position these people at the top of these studios, and I do it myself all the time. I catch myself doing it all the time, and maybe that's not the best way to do it because obviously in this situation they built it from the top down because they started with Daryl Gallagher, and when they announced the Initiative was a thing on this Microsoft stage when they announced the studio. So it's I don't know, it's interesting. And like the other question is like, will the game be better now because Crystal's involved?
All right, hold that for a second. I want to speak to your earlier point because, dude, you brought up an excellent point. Because I do this. I mean, I've used Kojima as an example. This man plasters his name everywhere in his game. So you're right on that front. But to your second point, yeah, that was my question as well. It's like, is the original vision of Perfect Dark compromised? And that's not to say that games don't undergo changes all the time in development, because I'm sure they do. Obviously, like The Last of Us, like that game, I think we talked about it on this show, wasn't good until like a few weeks before release. Like something changed there, right? And so yeah, that's a great question. Like, is this now a different game with Crystal Dynamics? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, because we didn't see like anything of Perfect Dark aside from just like the concept teaser. So we just don't know.
Yeah.
And oh, sorry.
No, go for it. I think you're going to say what I was going to say.
I was just going to say Crystal did an amazing job with the Tomb Raider reboot, so obviously they can make fantastic stories. So like maybe this is for the better that Crystal is involved here.
But did they though? Because the first one was beloved, right? And then it seems with each iteration it wasn't received as well, right?
True.
And then of course we have, I think of Avengers.
True, until Shadow of the Tomb Raider was not made by Crystal, right? That was made by Eidos. Yeah, I think that was
You're right.
swapped.
Mm.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because Rise of the Tomb Raider was my favorite out of the three, and that was the second one. But that's just
sure.
I'm just one person. But I get what you're saying, and
I could be wrong, bro, by the way, as well.
And the Avengers story was good, in my opinion, but the game not so good. But the story was good. I like the story, and Guardians of the Galaxy was the most recent thing, and people love the story for that. It just sucks that it's being. True. It may be a good game in the end. Perfect Dark might be a good game if Crystal Dynamics does in fact kind of take over. It just sucks that it's being hijacked essentially from the people who started the idea in the first place, and whatever's going on in the upper ranks right now kind of steering the boat in a different direction. It may be a good game. It's just maybe not the same game that they envisioned in the first place, but I don't know. We'll see.
God, what a beautiful quote to end it on. I'm just not going to add anything else and no more comments. Will, you nailed it. Congratulations and thank you. Before we get into the topic of the show, I want to know what you guys have been playing. What have you guys been up to? Let's start with Daniel-san.
I have still been playing Horizon Forbidden West, continuing westward. Is still tons of fun, Christian. It's tons of fun. I didn't get to play as much as I wanted to this past week, but yeah, I've sadly now, Christian, gotten to the point where I am literally just skipping everyone's dialogue unless it's like the main story. Like I literally,
It's a lot, right?
It's just so much, and I know we talked about it a couple weeks ago, but it's just like I don't have the time because of my investment in other games like Halo Infinite and such. I don't have the time to just sit there and listen to this 12-mile long book about what you did 7 years ago with your great aunt, and I don't know. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but yeah. But still, the gameplay is fantastic, and I've really been enjoying that. And I love the variety of the enemies in this game. It feels so much more I can't speak today. Varied than Horizon Zero Dawn, which I really like as well. Like I don't think the kangaroo dinos, that kangaroo robot dinosaur, whatever you want to call it, was in the first game, and that thing is like, that thing is fierce. That thing is just kicks you, and you're just like,
just
no.
wait to get like more west, and like the dinos get like really insane.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Almost annoyingly insane.
Like the giant dudes that I have a statue of that my dog decided to chew up, when I was not home the other week. Yeah. Freaking dog. Anyway. Sorry, Christian.
I just want to add that you're right. Like after around hour 40 is where I realized, all the side dialogue I'm having with characters does so little to impact what I'm actually doing. And I decided to just stop doing that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Hour 42.
Yeah.
I really gave it a chance there.
Jesus.
A full week. Yeah, I know.
I made it to the end of the game, and then I decided to stop listening to
I still gave it a 4.5 out of 5 on GG. Like I have so many criticisms. Anyway, sorry, Dan.
Fair. No, you're good. I also played a couple of matches of Madden right before the podcast with good old Glenn in the chat, who's always here every week. And I just want to say, Glenn, you got absolutely destroyed. I outscored him 73-8 in 2 games that I played him in. So,
oh no,
sorry. Yeah, that was a massacre. But anyway.
you just had to publicly shame him.
Yeah, live. Yeah.
Sorry, Glenn. Also, I wanted to point this out because I thought this was cool. Microsoft did a update for the iOS version of cloud streaming for games, and it's infinitely better right now. No pun intended. But I played Halo Infinite on there, and and it's so much better now. Like before, when I played cloud gaming on iOS. Because of course it has to use Safari because Apple's restrictions, they won't let them do it in the store. Sure. But it plays so much better. The input latency is far and away much better now than it was before. Because before I could play locally, so I can use my Xbox Series X as a device that I can stream my games from, and that always worked perfect. It was always great. It was only the cloud stuff when you're trying to play from a cloud server that I was always getting super input latency, and I'm just like, this is unplayable. It was very playable now. Like, it's still obviously not the best way to play. I would not choose to play cloud over playing on my Series X or anything like that, but it is so much better now. I played some training rounds and like the training simulations in Halo Infinite, and it was much more responsive. I was actually killing people and doing things that I would have never been able to do before. So very good job by the cloud team there.
Confirmed Dan doesn't play well unless he plays mobile.
No.
I'm kidding. I tease, I tease.
I know.
That is cool though.
Yeah.
Bro?
Nothing. The answer is nothing. I have not played anything for the past week. It's been very sad. Very sad I haven't, but
you played with our hearts, Ro.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I'm
Are
sorry.
you on Tinder?
Just kidding. I wasn't even on Tinder.
Wow.
No, I've been playing the game of love. you guys. Just school and work this week. I do want to finish Ace Attorney soon because I feel like that's getting away from me, and I really enjoyed it. And I don't want it to become another Eastward where I loved it and I just haven't given myself a chance to finish it. So I'm hoping to get back to that. Destiny, of course, the final seasonal story beat happened today, so I want to get around to see what happened there. And then, I'm hoping to play some more visual novels and actual new games later this year. But right now, nothing, sadly.
Okay. Sometimes we need our little breaks, and you're busy.
Yeah, it's true.
I understand. I hate you.
Hey guys, I just want to interrupt this because I've been a terrible watcher of the chats here. Resh just joined us on Twitch and he rated us with a party of 10. Thank you, Resh.
Oh my god.
That is very kind of you.
you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Hello. Welcome to Podcast PXN.
The world's best podcast.
Yes.
Listen, we're going to keep talking about video games, but Rose said something about the game of love. I just want everyone to know I have been talking to a single mom the past 2 weeks.
Okay.
Just throwing that out there.
Okay, you got to tell us more after the show then.
Well, I did the show. I don't know. Probably not. I'll keep that private. But this one, throw it out there.
Okay.
Of course, I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring. I am just shy of 80 hours. Seemingly, I've started like the climax of the game pretty soon. So maybe like another 15 to 20 hours, I'll be beating it. It's still very much game of the year. Do I have small criticisms? Yes, but they're very few. Is it my favorite From Software game? Ooh, good question, Christian. I don't know. Is it still a masterpiece? Yes.
What would be the runner-ups if Elden Ring not your number one? What's keeping you from Elden Ring being your number one?
So my top 3 right now are Sekiro, Dark Souls 1, and then Bloodborne. Okay. And I just don't know where Elden Ring fits on that list because
you don't know who you're going to bump down.
I want all 3 of those games to be my top 3, and I want Elden Ring to be my top 3.
To also be there, yeah.
So I have a predicament that I'm like, you know what? I'll think about this 20 hours from now, 20 game hours from now.
Fair enough.
It's funny you say that, Christian, because Resh has been streaming a bunch of Dark Souls games. He actually said, waiting to start Elden Ring till I finish Demon Souls. So excited.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very curious to know if it's Demon Souls remake or if it's probably not the PS. It's probably remake.
I think he's playing the remake. Yep.
Yeah.
Another first-time viewer, it looks like Dr. Yeet Tenstein. I wonder if Christian agrees with this, but he says bottom of the list is Dark Souls 2. Is Dark Souls 2 that bad?
Dark Souls 2 is the only one I have played because everyone told me to just skip it entirely.
Or maybe maybe you don't.
No. And yet people are saying like if you like Elden Ring, you should check out Dark Souls 2. And I love Elden Ring. Sorry, I don't know. I cussed. Oh. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. I saw like my friend stream some of it and like just watching him play, I'm like, oh, I would have problems with X, Y, and Z. So anyway, good question though. And then last update I have for everyone is that I started doing freelance videos for Tech Raptor. So shout out to Tech Raptor for giving me that opportunity.
Heck yeah.
Plenty more to come. So
yes, I saw your Ollie Ollie review on TikTok recently. That was really good.
Thank you. Okay. Well, let's get into our topic of the show. This is the state of play station. I want to start with some news that kind of dropped this week. We're getting a look at Hogwarts Legacy. That state of play is happening tomorrow, Thursday, the 17th at 2 p.m. Pacific. I'm pretty sure it's Pacific. And I want to start our conversation with, like, there is a problem with covering this game. Half of the people in the industry that I'm seeing on Twitter refuse to cover it, justifiably so. I think I fall, I guess us talking about it is covering, so maybe I don't agree with myself. There's more of a nuanced conversation there. But and then the other people are obviously like, is the game far enough removed from J.K. Rowling for us to talk about this game, promote it, play it, etc., review it? And they kind of think that, yeah, because the devs have come out and said, like, no, we like stand very much the opposite of what J.K. Rowling is saying, that, that's enough and fair. Everyone has that, like, authority to decide for themselves. Personally, for me, it's like, I don't know. Like, is that property going to make J.K. Rowling money? Yes. Is that money going to be used towards more hate campaigns? Yes. So I kind of refuse to probably go near it. But this leads to my question. Does Sony have a problem with marketing it? Because that game has been quiet for so long because every time they feel like they want to ramp up and talk about it, J.K. Rowling will come out and say something weird. So the devs have had to like come out and say stuff. Sony really hasn't. Is there a problem with Hogwarts Legacy and promoting that game? How do you guys feel about it?
I feel like it's been. I'm not a huge Harry Potter person. I haven't seen the movies, so maybe I'm just not the right crowd. But I don't think I've seen a lot about it until now, where they're doing a whole state of play for it. So maybe they don't have an issue with covering this game, and they don't really care about the JK. At least Sony doesn't care about the JK Rowling attachment if they're willing to do an entire presentation dedicated to it. I do think it's interesting. Like I think about Disney as a company. It's not really a person, but I think about like the Say No, Don't Say Gay bill that they were supporting, and Pixar is part of Disney, and they released a great movie recently, and I watched and I loved it. But like by supporting Pixar, I'm also supporting Disney, and it's just such a weird situation that we find ourselves in, loving all these media stuff. We love the product, we love the IP, but sometimes the creators are kind of messed up, and we're caught up in a dilemma if we continue to love the things that have inspired us and stuff like that, but also don't want to support the creator that is just an all-around trash human being. So I'm never going to tell somebody how to consume the thing that they love, obviously, but I've decided that I'm not supporting Activision, Overwatch being one of my favorite games ever. I'm not supporting them until something changes over there, and same with Ubisoft. Yeah. But your question was, is there a problem with covering this game? And I think it's great that there are reviewers and games people out there who are deciding not to cover it, and I think that is within their right to do that. But yeah, at the end of the day, if you want to enjoy Hogwarts, I more power to you, and everybody just make their own personal decision on whether or not to do it. But it has been weird because I just haven't seen a lot of coverage on it until this PlayStation State of Play, I guess. Now, yeah, no hype thing really up until release.
Yeah, and it's kind of also a tricky thing from Sony's perspective, right? Because they kind of unveiled this game, like a year and a half ago, maybe, or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was ahead of their PS5 unveiling or releasing, something like that. But obviously, they're the marketing partner or whatever you want to call it for this game. So it's like, how do you market this game or support this game without supporting the ideals of the original creator of the IP? And it is a very tricky thing. And as you said, Christian, like the developers are saying like the right things, like they're saying like, no, we don't support those things and we're against those things, which then you're like, man, could they have made like a generic like wizard game? Like it just gets really
without even sold,
right?
Yeah, right.
And that's the thing. That's the tricky part, because obviously Harry Potter is the biggest wizard type experience out there. So obviously just the name attached to it has a huge following, for good or bad. So yeah, it really is a really tricky issue. It's not really, it's not a great answer either way. I don't know. I'm not personally a huge Harry Potter fan, so like it wouldn't take much for me to say, okay, I don't need to play this game because I'm not, that into that experience. But I do know people that are huge into Harry Potter and are very excited for the game. So it's tricky for sure.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how that marketing will continue to be pushed toward, or how they approach it towards release. I draw parallels to like the Fantastic Beasts movies, and like general audiences who enjoy Harry Potter, like, and are not aware of J.K. Rowling's kind of hideous comments, like, are excited for those movies, even though they are bad. Let's admit it. Like, do general audiences who are into Harry Potter and play video games is going to be excited for Hogwarts Legacy? I'm sure they are. And maybe they don't know about everything that J.K. Rowling is saying and doing. So I don't know. But yeah, very curious to see how Sony handles it on their side, because the devs, of course, again, have come out against her statements. Moving into more general Sony discussion, I kind of did similar stuff to what Dan did last week for Xbox, and kind of separated different kind of segments here on just PlayStation in general. And I want to start off with obviously the biggest thing about PlayStation, which is of course the games. Like that's why we're here, right? We talk about the games. And so I have here a slate of 2022 releases, right? We're talking about the state of PlayStation in 2022. So some past / current games have just come out. Obviously, Horizon Forbidden West just released on PS5, PS4 to great critical acclaim, right? Obviously, it's come into some kind of criticism with Elden Ring out and UX, UI, all that. However, still got great review scores at release. GT7, more of a niche, but still, again, critically received fairly well. A great comeback for Gran Turismo. Of course, we're looking at the Horizon, no pun intended there, for future titles like Ghostwire Tokyo, although not an exclusive here. I think it is a console exclusive.
Yes.
Right? Forspoken as well, just got delayed, but it is still coming this year. Games like Stray, also console exclusive. God of War Ragnarok supposedly coming this year. And then beyond, we've got Spider-Man 2, Wolverine from, again, developers Insomniac. Pragmata, which I totally forgot about. I forgot to write down who was developing that game, but it looks weird. Final Fantasy 16, and then we've got like 3 Naughty Dog projects in the works that we have no idea what they're on. And we have some idea, right? We have news that The Last of Us 3 story, they have an idea what they want to do there. Factions, right? They may be doing new IP, inshallah. And then, of course, is Uncharted coming back with another studio? All these questions, right? With all that in mind, how do you think Sony is doing in 2022 compared to its competitors? We know what Nintendo's got. We know that what Xbox has got. Is PlayStation in good shape?
Yeah, I think they're in great shape. Horizon Forbidden West is a great game, obviously, and Gran Turismo 7 is a great racing sim. Obviously, the former rather than the latter is going to be more popular amongst gamers playing Horizon Forbidden West. Now I'm combining Forza Horizon into Horizon Forbidden
Amazing.
West. But yeah, for Forza. Now I'm doing it again, Christian.
It's the Forza Horizon. I know the pipe. Yeah, I can see the pipeline right now.
Horizon's such a popular game amongst like hardcore gamers, and Gran Turismo is obviously gonna satisfy the car fanatics. So those are both great games. Xbox hasn't really released much this year in terms of like big profile releases. Obviously they have Tunic coming, that's actually out today, I guess, and they have other smaller stuff that they've announced, but for the most part they don't have
Starfield.
There's
Starfield.
There's
if it's coming this year.
If it's coming, which who knows? Todd does love his November 11th date, which he loves that date for some reason. But I don't know. And Ghostwire Tokyo, we're getting kind of pretty good reviews for it. Forspoken, I think we're pretty high on. Like, and if God of War Ragnarok launches this fall, that's going to blow out anything. I think that out of the water because the first game was so good. Like that was a great, revitalization of that franchise. Like that franchise was, in my opinion, like falling by the wayside before the reboot. So, yeah, I think they're looking good.
I think they're looking good too. Just because of like, obviously the games that they have coming up are super excited, like God of War Ragnarok, as you said. Forspoken, I've been off and on with that game. I don't know how I feel.
It's the hip hop walk, isn't it, Ro?
It is. Maybe it's the hip hop walk. It might be that. But yeah, everything that PlayStation has up its sleeves, I'm definitely excited to see when it comes out. But even if they didn't announce a lot of this stuff, I still feel like they would still be in a good space, just based off of everything that they did last generation. People would still be showing up to be picking up PS5s regardless, even if God of War Ragnarok wasn't announced. They'd be like, but it might be coming someday, so I'm going to get a PS5 now just in case. I feel like there's a lot of gamers out there who just support PlayStation because of the history that it has, and they just feel like Nintendo or Xbox won't deliver the same type of games that PlayStation has been delivering for the past generation. But yeah, I think they're in a great spot. I do want to see, as someone who is in the PlayStation ecosystem and does know what's being announced, I would love to see what else they've got up their sleeve. But yeah, so far what they have on their calendar, definitely hyped for, and I think it puts them in a good spot against their competition for sure.
Yeah, one last thing I forgot to add was that, of course, Returnal getting its DLC and huge update from developer Housemarque later this year as well, pretty soon. And then it seems like I kind of spoke on this. Well, it seems like since somewhere in the middle of the PS4 generation, the studios at Sony have hit like a stride in terms of quality. And one big thing they're allowed to do is like autonomy for what like they want to make, right? Not to say that other studios don't, right? That's not what I'm saying at all. But they seem to have hit this like level of quality and confidence for all the games that they like, for most of the games that they're putting out, that it's like, yeah, when it's ready to go, we'll show it and it looks great and it's getting great reviews, right? And so like compounded over the years, like having all these studios, that leads to like this idea that Sony puts out bangers on their console. And I said this last week, and I'll stand by it again, that like with all of Xbox's acquisitions, they're going to hit that same stride, I think, sooner rather than later, with all these teams under their belt. Like once things fall in place, obviously with the initiative news coming out, it might take a little bit more time for some teams, but others like maybe not as long. Especially with the Activision stuff, if once Phil Spencer takes over, like they're going to be hitting their stride pretty soon as well. And it's not to say like they're competing. Go ahead, Dan. Sorry, Dan.
Sorry, no, I was just going to add on to what you're saying there. Like as far as the structural problems with their first party studios, is Microsoft going to be back hitting bangers out here? I don't know. Like I think the initiative thing has definitely put question marks up there, as we've already seen question marks with Halo Infinite. So like, I don't know. Will Microsoft be back on that level? So that's why I think like Sony's got a decent like footing to stand on, because they're not having these mass exoduses right now. Obviously, there was reports not that long ago about, you know, certain conditions at certain studios that weren't so great, but for the most part, Sony, I think, is doing a good job of retaining their people and keeping their talent in house.
Mm-hmm. But here's the thing as well, right? Sometimes with PlayStation, it doesn't get like that kind of year-round gameplay from like a lot of people. Like one title will hit this month, you'll play it, and you won't turn on your console for a little while because games are coming on Game Pass. That's one thing that Xbox has over Sony, is that just the plethora of titles on Game Pass are just like too fantastic, because they're like great releases like almost all the time. And so to that, I will include now questions here about the upcoming Spartacus. When we'll hear about that, I mean, who knows? Whenever that's ready. But maybe there's another weird state of play coming up all about Spartacus. I don't know. I have a few questions here. When do we see that announcement happening? Does it happen before, E3 time? And then will the new plans for Spartacus be enough to entice players on the Sony ecosystem to buy into those premium tiers? We talked about those premium tiers maybe about 3 weeks ago-ish. We've had our criticisms with them. And then the big question here, is it going to be a Game Pass killer, quote unquote? And is that even the goal of Spartacus at all? Does it want to be that? I say no. But let's be real. People are going to be pinning it as a Game Pass competitor on Twitter, because it's the offer that Sony has compared to what Xbox is offering on their end. So lots to unpack there. Wherever you guys want to start, it's fine by me. Thoughts on Spartacus?
Yeah, I think Jim Ryan has been very clear on, their services. Like he basically said not that long ago, like, we can't put our games on a service like that because on day one, because like it's not sustainable for us. And I guess, Sony is a much smaller company than Microsoft. So Microsoft can kind of, get away with throwing away money, so to speak, at these projects to kind of spend more money to get the betterment of the Xbox community, to try to get more gamers in their ecosystem, to try to make more money on the subscription side of things. But yeah, I don't think it has to be a Game Pass killer for Sony to continue to succeed, because they've already shown that they can be successful without this. So I think it'll only be supplemental to them. I think the concern with Spartacus for me is in the tiers, and being the lowest tier being basically PlayStation Plus, but you're paying double the price for it. I think that's a little bit not great. Obviously, PlayStation Plus has had phenomenal games. Like, they've literally been killing it with PlayStation Plus titles, as opposed to games with gold titles. Terrible. But obviously, like double the price is a pretty big ask for gamers to pay $10 a month for that. But
What do you think about Spartacus, Ro?
I agree that it's not going to be able to compete with Game Pass. Not that it couldn't. I just don't think that PlayStation is going to do what it needs to be able to compete with Game Pass. Like you said, that they already said that they're not going to be putting first party games on that platform, and that's already putting them at a disadvantage right there. But yeah, I think the classic games that we saw in the leak would be a great thing to have, and be able to preserve those classic titles and have access to that is awesome. It's again the tiers that are kind of making me a little trepidatious in what this is actually going to turn out to be, and a little worried as well. But yeah, if they're able to deliver a good, I mean, can it be worse than Nintendo Online? I mean, I guess it could. I guess it could, but it'll really be something if it is.
Dude,
but yeah.
Dude, honestly, when I think about like Sony's moves and what they do, I akin them way closer on the spectrum of between Xbox and Nintendo. I
Right.
always akin them closer to Nintendo.
That's true. Yeah.
Like with all the crossplay stuff, like over the years, and how like terrible it seems to be to like get crossplay to do anything on the PlayStation side. You know?
Yeah, that's a good point. If they were to make a weird, if they were more likely to make a weird Nintendo decision or a good Microsoft decision, they'll probably quicker make a weird Nintendo decision. So yeah, so I guess that even worries me even more about what Spartacus could be, given their similarity to Nintendo in a lot of ways. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what it is. I'm not holding out any hope that this is going to be able to be on the same level as Game Pass. But having a way to have access to classic games based on the leaks, I think will be a really valuable thing to have. But it's all about that price point that they set it at, that will make it worth it or not.
Yeah, we'll see. Like, people love to talk about backwards compatibility, which again, phenomenal. I love when they do it because it rocks. It's a great option. And yeah, I always find myself playing newer games as opposed to like, the classic titles, right? So like, if Metal Gear Solid 2 was out right now, available on PS5, on the same day that Tunic is live on Game Pass, like I'd be more excited to play Tunic. And I love Metal Gear Solid, you know what I mean? But gonna throw in some more stuff in here. PS5, over a year now, we've had some minor updates to the software. Unfortunately, you don't have a PS5, so maybe you'll have less kind of hands-on experience there. But maybe you've seen kind of what features are like currently, or the features that you would like to see. The Discord integration slowly happening, I think is a very cool step in the right direction. That was a big surprise. I didn't think Sony would be doing that at all. I totally thought Xbox was going to be taking that, And then I want to throw in the addition of PSVR 2 into that conversation as well, with that kind of changing the ecosystem a little bit, or at least growing it in some kind of capacity. Dan, you have an Xbox and a PS5.
Yes.
In terms of features, is there anything you'd like to see in the PS5 now that it might be missing?
Yeah,
they're not quite nailing.
Yeah, I feel like there's a couple things, like, and we've talked about them, at least some of them before. Like variable refresh rate for me is a big deal because I have a TV that supports 120 hertz. So when you get games that are playing, at higher than 60 frames per second, but not quite able to hit the 120 frames per second, if you have like a performance mode on or whatever, it does suffer in terms of it can't produce the image on the screen without producing screen tearing. So like those things are like a big deal for like people like me. I'm just like, I hate seeing that like screen tearing happen. And Battlefield used to be like a huge offender of this back in the day. Obviously long ago, this was on Xbox 360 and PS3 generation, but like that kind of stuff just really bothers me when I'm playing a game, especially a competitive game like Battlefield or Halo or something like that. and you're seeing this happen on the screen. So like VRR definitely needs to be something they add, but also another thing that I think that would be a huge thing for them is something akin to quick resume. Quick resume is fantastic, and actually Microsoft continues to make quick resume even better. In the last update that they did, they now allow you to pin 2 games to quick resume. So like you can have usually like 5 or 6 games in quick resume, but now you can pin 2 of them. So no matter what games you start, those 2 games will always be available in quick resume. So like if you're playing like Elden Ring, for instance, if you're playing Elden Ring, for instance, Christian, like that can be one of your pinned games. So like you can go and play a bunch of other games, and then you can always go back to Elden Ring. And it's always going to be there saved in that state. And like that's something that is a fantastic feature on Series X that I feel like PS5 would greatly benefit from. And obviously it can be done, I feel like, because it's the PS5's SSD is actually better than the Series X SSD. So like I feel like it can happen. They just gotta work it out and do it. So yeah, I think those are my 2 biggest things I want to see.
One thing I want to add real quick before I get to Ro is I'll stand by the addition of the DualSense. It's probably one of the best things Sony has done in a long time. You guys are right when you criticize the touchpad, because like, let's be real, no studio really figured out how to use that like quite as effectively, and it very quickly became the map button, right? That's the joke, and it's a good one because it still is the map button for the most part. But like as far as like other like DualSense features, like the adaptive triggers and the way the vibration like actually functions, that has been a game changer for the like PS5 like exclusive games or console exclusive games, like even Sifu, which is available on PC. Having like punches feel differently, or like lighting affecting the way you move through an environment, like on the DualSense, and feeling that in the vibration, phenomenal. Returnal and Ratchet, like the way different guns feel, not just in the triggers, but in the way it vibrates and like the effects that it makes with them. Well, it continues to blow my mind. The pitter patter of rain again. I never thought that would be a feature that would like immerse me more into a game. Like it seems kind of gimmicky, and yet when rain hits in Returnal and I feel the pitter patter on Celine's suit, it's like, this is amazing. How was I playing games before this? So yeah, just throwing that note in there. Ro, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
If PS5s were available out in the wild right now, would you buy one?
Yes, if I was
Let's say you had-
financially, yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, absolutely. If I had the means to do so and they were readily available, no doubt I would be able to. I would definitely get it, and I would buy Miles Morales again. I would buy Demon Souls. Heck, I would buy Demon Souls just because of how beautiful that game looks. And like you were saying, the DualSense stuff is just like, I haven't experienced it yet, but I know how impressive it is just because of the videos and you talking about it, how cool and immersive that stuff is. So I definitely want to be a part of that when I get the opportunity to. I can't think of anything that I would want, probably because I haven't really been face first into the ecosystem yet. I don't know what is there and what is missing because I haven't been in it. But I think they're in a really good spot. Like I think the quick resume stuff would be a definite great addition. I've heard that before. But the games on PC thing that you're saying here, I would love them to be able to bring those games for me, because I can't play them. Can't play them yet. So it'd be awesome if they were quicker with that. I understand why they're not, because they want people to pick up a PS5. But I would love them to.
They can't.
Pardon? But they can't.
Shortage.
Exactly. So yeah, I wish they were a little bit more cool with making their games a little bit more readily available on different platforms. Obviously not anywhere else besides PC, but they've had a history. They did Days Gone. They're doing God of War soon. So it'd be cool if they were able to do their PS5 games a little bit sooner. Again, I understand why they're not, but it would be awesome if they did that. So that would be something that I would like to see. Even if I do get a PS5 soon, I think it would just be awesome to be able to have those games in more than one place. Yeah,
they should do the HBO Max pandemic method, wherein it's console exclusive on PS5 for 45 days, and after that, it's on PC available as well.
They should do that. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good compromise. Maybe, I don't know. Rose said something, dude. When you get one, like I still think booting up Astrobot Rescue Mission
Right.
for the first time, playing like it's not even anything of the game. It's just the settings and teaching you like the DualSense functions. Probably one of my top 5 like PS5 moments. Just starting Astrobot.
I remember watching like I think it was either Game Explain or Good Vibes Gaming, one of those two Nintendo channels, playing the PS5 when it first came out, and them booting up Astrobot, and just like them being so impressed with it. It was like this is infectious how much people are loving this thing. So yeah, I definitely want to play Astrobot 2 whenever I get it.
There's one to Portland.
Or I could just go over
serious.
and play.
Astro's Playroom is literally still the best iteration of the DualSense. It's amazing. It's so good.
Damn.
I can't believe I'm running this show and I called Astro's Playroom Astrobot Rescue Mission, the VR game. I'm so sorry. But speaking of VR, yeah, I mean we've already talked about VR a little bit, but like just to reiterate some of our comments, like money aside, like does VR2 excite you at all? Like in terms of like gaming on VR. Do either of you have like a Quest or anything? I forget.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Not me. No, I have played it at Gage's house. I don't think it was.
Sure.
I think it was the Quest. Yeah, I played it before. I don't own one though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Sony. Do you think Sony will nail PSVR 2? That's the hope, right?
Yeah, fingers crossed. It as we were talking about last week. It's the crazy price that we have to pay for entry because it's the PlayStation 5 plus the VR. So it's not very accessible. But once you're in, I am sure it's going to be a great time. A hefty price to pay, but if that price is so high, hopefully the experience is there. But I mean, they tried it once with PSVR. I think it was fairly successful. So hopefully, second time around, they're able to get more studios on board and make some more better experiences for us.
Not only was it successful, according to like Sony, it surpassed their expectations. They weren't expecting that many people to buy in, and people did. Like it was like one of the first. I mean, it was easy back then just to hook up a few cables and get into VR that way. Now it's way easier with the Quest, obviously. But Dan, any comments here?
Yeah, I think like the hardware itself is like super exciting. Like the PSVR 2 hardware is very impressive and like is comparative to like the top VR headsets that we have out there right now. So that part of it is exciting. It's just the monetary aspect, like Rose saying, that it is a little bit scary in that regard. But like you're saying, Christian, like PSVR was pretty decent success for Sony, and like I feel like they didn't even really market it that much. And I feel like also like there's something that they could do for PSVR 2 if they did something akin, and people are going to freak out as soon as I say this, but do something akin to what Microsoft did with Kinect back in the day, where you say, hey, developers, can you make like one component of your game utilize PSVR 2, like one experience, like just every developer just say, hey, can you just put some cool thing in for PSVR 2, because like that would just help to bring people to the platform.
Yeah.
They did a couple of those things. Like I remember No Man's Sky did stuff like that, and I think there was a couple of others where it's like you can play this game in VR if you want to, but the game is specifically made for controller. But,
yeah, and we're seeing that happen with like Horizon. Obviously, that's getting its own standalone VR title. Recently, there was like the Hitman kind of VR experience, so you're onto something there. Like, yeah, it's not too much of an ask. Like, if you know, a lot of these studios, it doesn't have to be all of them. Even if just half of them came out with something that was like a VR kind of experience based off of existing IP, like that would be pretty cool. And also, like, don't be afraid to. Oh, I guess they do have their own controllers, right? Like, don't be afraid, I guess, to like option like the DualSense as well, because I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it's fun to play the Quest, but like I don't always want to be swinging around my arms. Like, it'd be nice to like sit down and just use a controller. I guess I could do that with the Quest too, but you know what I mean. I don't know where I was going there. Anyway, it seems like PlayStation is doing okay. Yeah. Pretty successful at Sony. Yeah. Just success everywhere in the games industry. OLED's doing well. Microsoft having the highest Metacritic, Open Critic of 2021. So far in 2022 as well. And then Sony games is critically, good time to be a fan of video games, eh?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Sony, where's my Tifa game? I want a Tifa game right now. Please.
One final question before we go.
Yes.
Who is the best girl of Final Fantasy VII Remake?
I said Tifa, but it's not Tifa, it's not Aerith, it's
Jess, isn't it?
it's Jess. Jess. I think that's her name, right? Jess. Final Fantasy.
Jess Dark Horse, man. The one that invites Cloud in for pizza?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Jessie Raspberry.
I did a Google search since I'm not a Final Fantasy fan, and the answer is apparently Tifa.
It's a good second.
Everyone, that's
Good
the
second.
easy answer. Let's be real. Jesse deserves some love. Anyway, I digress. Folks, thank you again to everyone joining us live over on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, as well as podcast services everywhere, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, and Stitcher. That's it. No other services. Sorry. Thank you, Ro. Thank you, me. Oh, God, thank you, me. Gage, you get no thank you. And thank you, Daniel. I'm reading the wrong note. That's why. It says, I am Daniel. Thank you, Dan. And this has been Podcast PXN. And we are out of here.
Much love and keep on gaming.
See ya.
I must become an Elden Lord.